Good evening, everyone. Before we go ahead and get tonight's stream started off with, we want to go ahead and give a special thanks to people who actually made this stream and also this game mode actually happen. Starting off with Mithril and Rel, who have been working hard with the bugs and all the fixes that have been associated to Outfit Wars Nexus. We also want to go ahead and recognize some PSB staff, namely Varunda, who worked a lot on the overlay that you guys will see later in terms of the back end of things. And also in addition to that as well, Reltor and Sergeant Mile for obviously being our go-to PSB organizers for anything planet-side battles. For the map overview that you guys will see later, that was created by Zulfer, who spent a decent amount of time to make that look pretty. The overlay was created and designed by Liddy, and again, it looks very good. And lastly, I want to also give a special shout out to my friend Casey, who worked on some of the music vocals that you guys will hear later during the map overview. And then obviously, before we get through the rest of the intro for this stream, we want to tell you that this stream has been brought to you by Nanite Systems. Nanite Systems. How many NS15s do we have? More than I can count. Nanite Systems, like a good neighbor Nanite Systems is there. I don't know. Tand, what do you think about Nanite Systems and our overlords at Nanite Systems?
Nanite Systems, they give me the tools that I use to slay my enemies and the tools my enemies use to slay me.
Nanite Systems.
What else would I ask?
Who else would you ask? Nanite Systems. And with all the formalities out of the way, hello everyone, one and all, wherever you are located at in the world. You are watching Planet Side Battles, and we are going to be casting for today a special match on Connery, which is the West Coast server for Planet Side 2. I am going to be your caster and main cameraman, Falco, and joining me today is none other than Tand. How are you doing, Tand?
Hello, I'm doing great. Falco, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Is there any social media that you would like to go ahead and plug while we still have the opportunity to plug stuff?
None at all. None at all. You can find my YouTube channel at TandBinc11 and watch my bad montages.
There you go. So we'll be casting for today's stream. It's going to be a fun stream. And we're going to try to make it enjoyable for everyone's viewing. So with all of those introductions out the way, let's go ahead and review the current game mode, which I will reiterate is different than Desolation. This has been completely reworked to, well, not completely reworked, but essentially Daybreak have decided to recycle content that they had made previously, and I think that they have done, for what it's worth, a good job so far. Obviously, there are still some kinks and glitches and bugs that need to be worked out, but I think we are in a good, they're taking steps in the correct direction. So to start us off, this is Outfit Wars on Nexus, and what Nexus is that it is a battle island where you will have two teams from, they can be the same faction or different factions, but the primary thing is that it's going to be an outfit versus an outfit. And they are going to be labeled Alpha versus Omega. Alpha as indicated by that little fish icon that you see, and Omega with those logos and stuff. Obviously you can see what you can see on the screen. This is going to be round 2 of the current iteration of Outfit Wars. This is a singular match scheduled for one fall or most territory controlled within a 45-minute time limit. The match will begin with a 20-minute pre-match phase, and each team is allocated a maximum of 48 players per team. Tand, would you like to go over the relatively basic rule set for Outfit Wars Nexus?
Yes, the unique rule set for Nexus Battle Island is that certain war assets are disabled, namely your Bastion fleet carriers and your Colossus heavy tanks. No terminals for them, you cannot pull them. I don't even know if a fleet carrier would fit on Nexus,
Probably
but
not.
those are not allowed. Additionally, construction is disallowed. There are no cordium spawns. There is no placing silos, not even with certs. If you try to sneak them in, you can't place them. We've tried. Ants, however, are still allowed. You can still use ants. You can still deploy them in the deliverer module. I wonder if we'll see any of those used today. Sneaky little way to get ants into there in the back door. And the last major rule for Nexus play is that joining mid-match is not allowed. The 48 people who warp in, that's it. That's all you're getting in for the match. If anyone leaves, they can't get back in either. It's a little controversial, but it's the rule set that teams have to work with for this season.
And hopefully, if there's any current outfits that are participating at this current point in time, I hope you're not watching the stream and are actually trying to get into the match, because once your match starts, you're donezo. So, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and do the quick run through of the map. Again, this video was created by Zulfer. Music vocals were done by Casey. And some of this stuff is going to be things that you guys will already know. Tand and I will kind of just go over these things again as you see them on screen. And we've already iterated some of these points. No construction, no bastions, no colossus. You are allowed other outfit resources. To start us off, we have our neutral bases, which are in the middle of the map. Starting off with Bitter Gorge Garrison. What can you tell us about Bitter Gorge Garrison, Tand?
It's a fascinating 3 points, very exposed. The points are on the roof of the triple, or roof on the triple on either side, and that center point you see on your screen right now. Very exposed. They have the canopies, but Banshee mosquitoes are going to have no problem strafing in there. So you have to work vehicles into your play to capture it.
We also got Granite Head Reactor. This little bit of overview is going to be really quick, but we basically have a whole bunch of different types of buildings, primarily our powerhouse, our triple stack, and also an underground base, underground point. And following that, we have Arizak Satcom Hub, which is one of my favorite bases for this current iteration of Outfit Wars. It's basically a pseudo tech plant with a square building at the very top.
Yes. We've been calling it a lobotomized tech plant.
There you go. All right, let's go ahead and start talking about home bases. Why don't you start us off with Hydroponics Compound / Secure Substation.
Hydroponics Compound and Nexus Secure Substation. Points are in the powerhouse there. You see there is a large trench through the center that vehicles can drive through. Not much room for vehicle play getting up onto the points, and infantry have to take a bridge across from the spawn to get to the point itself. Very easy to lock those down if you're trying to.
And then we got Nexus Alpha and Omega, which is the main home base for each faction. You have a lattice leading directly into the warp gate. Capturing this point means that you will win the match. Lastly, we have Argent Pass and Slate Canyon Hold, which is basically a center point that connects the spawn room via 5 different bridges. And that will be a 4-minute capture. Those are more or less all of the different bases that we have on Nexus. And it's definitely refreshing planet-side content that we see inspirations from current bases that we have on live server, but they are not the same. We see asymmetrical map design and lattice lines, and I think that will make for very interesting gameplay that you typically would not see on live. Tand, what were you about to say before I accidentally cut you off?
It's just, yeah, it's all good. It's a very nice remix of some classic flavors in terms of building composition and the way covers is laid out. They're the same stuff you'll see on live, but just slightly different, that it feels fresh and it's very exciting gameplay. Yeah,
absolutely. But now, as you guys can see on the screen, this is gonna be our matchup for tonight for our 8:30 main event. So we're gonna have WTAC versus Fate, both of which are currently undefeated. That will obviously not be the case after today, but I think this will be a very interesting matchup. You have one outfit who I believe is very specialized when it comes to vehicular gameplay, and you also have Fate, who I would say is a very well-rounded team. But before we get into any more details regarding like what we think about each team, let's go ahead and review some basics and some basic stats that we got going on here. And I'm going to start us off with Alpha Team, which is going to be WTAC. WTAC, when you guys will see the match, they'll be highlighted in red. They currently have an outfit war record of 1-0 with a ranking score of 295. Their leader is Dr. Moneypants, and their home faction is NC. They have a total member count of 1,419 with a monthly activity of 36.10%. So that's actually a large amount of people that are on regularly on a monthly basis. Their Outfit Wars KD is a 1.97 with a headshot ratio of 14.0%. And based on their last match, and also I'll be constantly updating this as I stream more matches. Their current Outfit Wars base capture count basically their body count is 9 bases that they have captured so far. They captured 9 bases against TWC2 last week. So moving on, now we have Omega, and Tand will go ahead and take it away for Fate.
Sure. Fate is a conglomeration of a couple outfits on Connery. You have outfits like Dawn, Neo and Grind, Brack, and a couple other players here and there from a couple different outfits across Connery. They currently have a 1-0 record. They defeated Sammy last week in a very, very thrilling match that Falco casted.
Yeah.
They have a ranking score of 257 points, which can kind of be a bit deceiving because they played a very tough opponent. It was a very close match as a result. So they're definitely one of the favorites, I think, for Connery this season.
Yeah.
Definitely top 4 team. They are led by the mighty Frederick 1. Do you have something you want to say?
Yeah, I know. I just realized that I was gonna go over this, and then you were gonna give us additional commentary after I go over it.
So I'm gonna take over. That's fine. I can give some additional.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it. We're doing it anyway.
Okay.
Go for it.
Yeah. They are led by the fearless Frederick 1. He spent 60 hours reading the Fate Stay Night visual novel to prepare for this match. This match, he finished every route. He got with all the girls, and I think, dude, I don't know. I haven't played the game. You'll have to ask him. Maybe he'll tell us in Yell Chat. As we already said, they are TR. They have a member count of 111 with a monthly activity of 81.9%. Again, they were an outfit formed specifically for this tournament, so that shouldn't come as a surprise that their member count is a little lower, but their activity is very high. They currently have an Outfit Wars KD of 1.22 and a headshot rating of 20.44. Very, very good infantry players on this team. Don't let those KD stats deceive you. Again, they played a very, very competent team in Sammy for round 1. And they currently have an Outfit Wars base capture count of 5. They beat Sammy 5-4. I'm sure they'll look to keep that number growing here tonight.
And I also just want to go ahead and give a quick shout out, in case you didn't already, to my boys in Brack who are playing with Feta as well. Love you guys. That is basically our setup for today's match. It's WTAC versus Fate. While I get the overlay setup because that requires additional technical work, what do you think about today's matchup, Tand? How are you looking into this with WTAC versus Fate?
I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup because I think both teams are going to be looking for, or should be looking for, different things at the very least. WTAC today, I think that they need to keep in mind the larger season when they're playing this. I don't think they should go into this expecting to beat Fate, playing Fate's game. They need to understand that they may lose this game, but they need to get as many points as possible out of it. Because at the end of the qualifiers, the top 8 teams are going to go through. And, it's okay if they lose a couple matches. They just need to keep those points climbing up so that they can compete with the other teams who are 2-2 or 3-1 records at the end of this season, or at the end of the qualifiers. So for them, they have to focus on their strengths. They have a very strong central leadership core. They rally behind their leaders, and they will follow them. But they're not going to do nearly as well if they try to split up and fight Fate wherever they are. So they need to pick their battles and try to drag this match out as long as possible, stall Fate where they can, and get as many points out of it as possible. And take advantage of any shortcomings that Fate leaves in their lines to gain some points back and maybe even make a run for the match. Who knows? Fate, on the other hand, they have a lot of advantages going into this. They have lane smash experience. They, of course, their core is formed out of Rowley, last season's Outfit Wars winners, but at the same time, they kind of have an albatross around their neck, and that albatross is Rally. They need to kind of find their own identity. A lot of players went to different teams this season, and their core isn't quite as the same people who it used to be. And I think they realize that. They just need to use this match to kind of re-solidify that Fate identity and use it to go on a real run as we head into the second half of qualifiers here and into the playoffs. Because I think this team has a lot that they can show, and they haven't quite reached their full potential yet.
Awesome. Sweet. We still have about 5 minutes left. That's a decent amount of time to kill. Tand, what is your current take on Nexus? How do you feel about the map? How do you feel about the lattice structure, the bases, like all of it?
I'm very, very happy with Nexus overall so far, I think. It's a very, very well-made map. It's very clear that the level designers who were working at the time, Sony Online Interactive, that's how long ago we're talking.
Yep.
definitely knew what they were going for with this, and they took a lot of lessons out of the other maps that they had made up to this point. At the same time, though, there's a lot of weird little idiosyncrasies about the map that are clearly left over from old game design. But they're kind of fun to revisit in a kind of nostalgic way for those of us who have been around since 2013, 2014. I really like I hinted at earlier, I really like the remixes of classic base designs. This tech plant that you're seeing on the screen right now, I mean, very, very cool take on the tech plant concept. I really wish we'd gotten something like this for Iso Tech Plant when they redid it Esmir, to be honest. The other center bases are also unique enough, but still kind of have that 3-point flavor. That means openers are complex, and you know they're not so one note as just throw all the bodies on the 1 point and then resonate. And the lattice links are also very interesting because they give you those kind of in a 3-lane format. It's a little limited, of course, but they still give you some backcap opportunities, and we've seen lots of strategy already, such as VCats and B-Way, Fate and Sammy last week, 1TR and SKL, some great matches where there's really good map play, and you know, knowing how to move your population around the map and take advantage of those lattice connections was key to turning what otherwise could have been a victory or a loss into a victory. So I'm really enjoying Nexus so far, both as a player and as an observer.
So current update on population. For people who are not familiar with how Nexus works, we do not have access to the actual continent population, but you can kind of get an idea as far as what's happening. And currently, on the Omega side, which is Fate, I think they are rolling a full team because it is showing 48-96. Inversely, for WTAC, it's currently showing 24-48. I don't know how big of a discrepancy that's going to be. We will see that when we see it. And to just kind of look at this map a little bit, let me go ahead and change scenes here. So I was co-casting with Deeg earlier, and he mentioned like the fact that the map itself looks symmetrical, but it's asymmetrical, which I think is kind of cool. With Desolation, we saw that it's very much like, okay, regardless of whichever warp gate you're at, you're probably going to have the same experience as everyone else. It's just highly dependent on what faction you are and what kind of perks those faction specificities will give you. In this case, it's like, and here I am using my John Madden overlays here, we can see that, you know, you have Granite Head Reactor, and it has a link to Bitter Gorge Garrison. It has a link over to Nexus Secure Substation, and it also has a link over to Hydroponics Compound, but it does not have a link to our lobotomized tech plant, which is the Arazek Satcom Hub. And with Arazek Satcom Hub, you only have 2 last connections over to Hydroponics Compound and Nexus Secure, as you can kind of, you know, tell based on the previous idea that I just brought up. And then you look at Bitter Gorge Garrison, which is a different base structuring by comparison to Arazak. It's not a tech plant, and it has lattice connections for both the middle as well as the adjacent bases, which are Argent Pass and Slate Canyon Hold. So even though like this map looks symmetrical, it is, I think, important to point out for viewers and also people who haven't exactly participated in a Nexus match yet that it isn't exactly fully symmetrical, and I think that allows for pretty interesting map play, especially for any platoon leaders who want to go big brain on things, which we did observe last week with very interesting cutoffs and double cutoffs. With that all out the way, we do have less than a minute left, so we want to go ahead and recognize each team in their warp gate before we get started off and see what kind of openers they got going. So I will move over to WTAC, and it looks like they are going with the ground heavy opener with a decent amount of Sundays and tanks, a couple of Reavers, and 1 Galaxy, it looks like. Inversely, when we go over to blue, we see a hellhole of Mozzies who are ready to just annihilate anything in the air. So, very different opener styles. One is definitely indicative of an outfit's identity, that being WTAC. They have a strong ground game identity when it comes to how they play on live. And Fate, obviously, they are going with the meta that they understand, which is strong air game at the beginning of the match, and then follow it up with whatever you got to do after the beginning. With that said, the alert has started. Let's go get this overlay going. And
while you were checking the work gate openers, I was sitting in the middle. We have anvils dropping. We have a single large anvil. I believe that's from Western TAC dropping at Granite Head. We have a medium anvil for Fate dropped up, hidden in the hills above Bitter Gorge. So anvil play coming into play already before the match had even begun.
We see that anvil and see that anvil over there that I'm circling on the map. And obviously the overlay I'm using is not the right one. So give me just a moment. Let me go ahead and bring that over to technical issues real quick. Let me get this fixed up.
I don't see a single Reaver. I actually, nope, not a single Reaver. Looks like we have a lot of WTAC armor rolling through Secure Substation right now, moving to SATCOM, led by a Vanguard, PhD Swag, followed by Mupu RD, and a bunch of other buses, lots of buses. This looks like a hard commit for WTAC on SATCOM.
All right, we are back.
Meanwhile,
there we go. Go ahead, sorry.
Meanwhile, we have Fate mostly focusing. They're taking down the single WTAC bus from that anvil at Granite Head Reactor. This looks like Fate is taking Granite Head fairly uncontested.
Yeah, current pop situation over at Granite Head is 61 to 28%. There isn't much going on.
Looks like a similar story at Bitter Gorge. All the action right now, Fate is committed to Bitter Gorge and Granite Head. It looks like WTAC has gone all in on SATCOM.
So we see over here, Core and also Rocky have secured the point over at Granite Head, that being B point. They still have not captured A point yet. That might not be a priority just yet. That isn't super immediate.
I think what Fate's going for here is the 3-2-1 strategy. They've committed to 3 points at Bitter Gorge. They've committed to 2 points at Granite Head. And they probably tried for 1 point at SATCOM. I did see a couple mosquitoes on the roof, but those are gone. So they probably had tried for that point, but got pushed off. My guess is that they're going to try to just rotate this from north to south. Take Bitter Gorge, stall the timer at Reactor, take Reactor after Bitter Gorge through, and then commit everyone on to SATCOM. But it doesn't look like Western TAC is going to give them the opportunity at SATCOM. So it's going to be a 1-2 play for them.
Yeah, so heading over to Arizak right now, we can see how much ground presence that WTAC has. And I'm not going to say too much based off of what I know and how Fate handled their opener for the last match. I don't think they really care too much about Arizak. And that's quite evident with how they're playing this currently. They are much more invested in Bitter Gorge with the 93% overpop. And they're just kind of playing out Granite Head just to see how that's going to go. Both outfits are more concerned about getting the adjacent bases that are in the middle versus the direct middle, which is going to be Granite Head. Which I think that's fair.
Speaking of the middle base, interesting development at Granite Head. WTAC snuck in and hacked the vehicle terminal and pulled a cloak bus and got past Fate, I think, unnoticed. They have cloaked up on the southern end, just outside of B point, in the little overhang, and they have a full squad just hiding in a cloak sunder field right now.
I see it. They're ready to go. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Except they have one medic who's not cloaked though. That guy needs to.
Poor man, TJ.
Yeah, TJ, you gotta figure out your positioning there because you're not getting covered. Although he should be cloaked, but he's not. I don't know.
I wonder which Bible verses they're reading to each other right now as they wait.
Blessed are those who clap cheeks.
Yes.
Current development, Bitter Gorge has gone through, and Fate has started timer on Argent Pass. But, however, shoot, I can't believe I missed this. Arizak SATCOM hub has been stolen from WTAC, and Fate has captured Arizak SATCOM hub. So
That's a big play from Fate.
Despite having all of this armor over here, WTAC was not able to use that to their advantage, and they have lost and spent a decent amount of time at this base without actually capturing
nanites.
it. Yeah,
Look at all those
that's
vehicles in the center.
that's
the center
large. That's large nanite expenditure right there. That's not
Oh, my
good for
goodness.
WTAC. So Fate with an easy 2 captures there in the beginning. And now
WTAC has moved out. They're on B point at Granite Head, and they're flipping C as well.
I will move over there.
This is going to be a fight for Granite Head.
It's worth noting that Fate have a galaxy that they might be using as a spawn. Now I will move over to Powerhouse and see what we got going on here. We have WTAC on the point. They are covering door 1. Fate is attempting to try to push through, but they do not have the manpower currently. They are being outflanked by a far team of 3 WTAC members. They are currently now moving down over to A point to try to resecure that. Fate, they are currently being quartered right outside of the Powerhouse, and I don't think this is going to turn out well for them. Beveline is the last guy up, and he's trying to revive his dudes, but I don't think that's going to work out well for him unless this revive nade goes out well. So there's the res nades. Do they have a push?
There's a secondary push
Are
over
they?
here as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. They have a secondary push now. What are they gonna do with the push? Are they gonna push through door 1 or are they gonna push through door 2? We'll go ahead and see how this plays out.
WTAC very weak inside. A flank by RC Gaming took out the whole of WTAC.
Oh my
goodness.
A large amount of WTAC are down. Fate take B point.
Really clutch gaming has come in here and wiped out the WTAC hold on long stairs.
I wonder if Fate's gonna notice that there's a lot of WTAC dudes coming out from small doors, and if they're gonna think that there's spawn logistics over there. Because
they surely have to know now.
Because WTAC is literally just funneling through that door. They're not taking any other routes currently. While all of that is going on, let's go ahead and take a quick look over by C point. C point isn't being contested too heavily. Actually, no, excuse me.
C point is being pushed.
There is a push from the rooftop. So from the rooftop, we have a fire team of Fate. They are trying to make their way into the point room. We see Mr. Bubbles, the hacker, and he's down.
He's backed up by known feet lover Sun Wukong.
There you go.
They are absolutely fragging these WTAC players in this building, and their medics are doing a good job of keeping them up.
Yeah, WTAC is doing WTAC is doing a good job in terms of their medic game for this point, but however, Minotaur is just hammering in. You got 2 maxes that are just hammering in. You got.
WTAC has to get people. WTAC has to get people on this point now.
Skip rope Sally.
Argent Pass is about to go through uncontested. 15 seconds, and Fate's going to take that with no contestation from WTAC.
All right, Fate of Connery captured, and Argent Pass. Let me head over there before the capture. I'm not going to see it in time. But
gambled. Oh, they stalled.
They stalled it out. They stalled it out. They have spawn logistics over by Argent Pass. But
so, that was a massive gamble to try to go for that Granite Head cap, and they didn't pull it off, and they've lost all 3 bases off the opener.
So now I think it's important to note that Fate still have some amount of air presence. We just saw Mozzie over there who identified that WTAC is currently over in Argent Pass, and all of WTAC I think actually is at Argent Pass. So while they're over there trying to defend it against absolutely nobody, the timer got started over at Nexus Secure Substation. So, not exactly the logistical decision that should have been made. But now WTAC is having to deal with a situation where there's a timer going off on the other side of the map, and now Fate's hammering in onto this point. I think I'm hearing a whole bunch of C4s going off. A decent amount of people have died on the point over at Argent Pass. They're still trying to contest. And they are being met pretty heavily by, I would say, a relatively small amount of Fate guys. So good on the Fate dudes for making them feel as though they are a lot bigger numbered than what they actually are, because this definitely feels like something swaying towards Fate's favor here.
I think this is starting to move towards Fate's favor.
Yep.
Lots of people committing to the lower hold, but uppers starting to look really weak for WTAC. A couple of resonates going off, but the max is now in the door. The max has no support though. You have to back off.
But there's a push. There's a push. There's a push. All right, so we have resonades out. Big resonate for Fate. Absolutely big resonate for Fate. But they need to keep it up. A lot of them just zombied, and a lot of them are now down. So WTAC recovered from that.
WTAC has recovered.
Yeah.
Looks like WTAC has recovered at Nexus Secure substation as well. Although Fate has just rotated. I think Fate's pulled off of Argent Pass, and they've committed over to Secure substation now. Yes, we have 2 Fate Galaxies in the air.
All right. So WTAC has to recognize that, and they need to start moving their pop a little bit more efficiently, I think. We see... Okay, so the point is being flipped currently over at Nexus Secure substation. We're going to move down over into the point right now. And we can see that, no, Fate still has the point. There's been a small fire team of WTAC who, unfortunately, were not able to make it onto the point. Kudos to them for trying. And now we also have very suffocating Fate Air, who's just hammering this bridge that we're seeing right now. And they're really preventing WTAC from being able to push outside of their spawn room.
You know, WTAC is staying at Argent Pass. There's a whole bunch of them still just sitting here.
That's not
having
good.
a party on point.
That's not good.
This is like at least 2 full squads, if not more, just standing here.
They're giving up Secure substation for free.
Yeah, I mean, now the redeploys start coming through. I think they've realized that Fate isn't coming back here.
You gotta,
it's much too late.
Come down with a Steel Rain. I think that will be the only way that you can make this kind of work out in terms of timing.
Much too late now. Steel Rain's 30 seconds, 24 seconds on the top.
Yeah.
There's no Western TAC in this hex. I have to imagine those redeploys. Yep, those redeploys are already at Nexus Alpha. I see Max, WTAC Max is moving on to point at Nexus Alpha. They have wiped the few Fate guys who are here, TR Crunchy and Memento Mori and the Max. We're here trying to set up a back cap, but they have been wiped out. Although I see Fate spawn logistics here. Yep, Fate has a bus here already.
Yep. I see we got over here NS Chimichangas NC Marshmallox VS. Don't ask me why he's named that, but yeah, he is going ahead and just kind of bolting. Ah, no, he just died. He was bolting some dudes. I think he was providing some amount of recon and intelligence for Fate just to kind of let him know, like, yo, this is what I'm seeing. But now we see Fate coming in through one of the double doors rooms that lead into the point. And Mr. Bubbles, the hacker himself, is in a Max.
Not just any Max. I think that's a Pounder Max.
Yeah.
He knows that WTAC like their Maxes, and he has come to play. This is better from Fate on Max support. They have a medic or an engineer on standby on this Max. I noticed it in the Sammy game. I noticed it earlier at Argent Pass. Fate kind of struggles to support their Maxes. And if Bubbles goes down here, no, Bubbles is going to make his way back in.
I'm not sure if WTAC is really optimizing like how they're defending the point. I'm just going to point this out on the overlay right now. You have like a group of guys over here. They really only have vision of this door over here. They have no idea what's happening over here. Inversely, you have this bunker of dudes over here who kind of have vision over here, but if I change the angle, oh god, if I change the angle, that server rack is blocking their view of this this room over here. So, all right, go ahead, continue. You want to say something?
Important to note. Fate is back on point at Argent Pass. They've kicked off the WTAC that were here. I think it was mostly a delaying action. I think the guys, the WTAC members at Alpha, were mostly a delaying action. I think about maybe 2 squads, while the other 2 were at Argent Pass, but they've now been wiped, so I expect more reinforcements for WTAC at Alpha here. I think they're giving up Argent Pass.
Well, that's not good.
No, no, not at all.
Yeah,
you want to see teams take the initiative even when they're on the back foot, but WTAC seems content to just ball up on Maxes on the point.
If you're gonna get warp gated, you should have like at least a backup base to go off of, because
yeah, for sure.
Because the moment if Fate captures this base right here, Argent Pass, they're not gonna have any other lattices to potentially do some sort of like a base race or some kind of like a crazy big brain like cutoff lattice maneuver of some sort. They're going to be limited over to Nexus Alpha if Fate again is successful at capturing Argent Pass, and if that's the case, then Fate knows that the only enemies that will exist in the map is in Nexus Alpha, so they would effectively consolidate everyone into one hex. So if you're WTAC, you do want to start something like at Nexus Secure or Argent Pass.
Well, especially because they still hold the point at Nexus Alpha.
Yeah.
They aren't. It's not like they're backcapped or anything. They
Yeah,
could,
no, they're
they
not.
could
You
get a
can't-
backcap going at Secure
yeah.
Substation.
Yep.
We can still win this.
Yeah, I think WTAC's content just to sit here in their maxes and hold this point. Bold strategy, Cotton. It really hasn't worked for any other team that's tried it, but bold strategy.
You know what you can do to disrupt that? I'm fairly certain Fate has a couple of orbital strikes that will help disorient. They'll help disorient any maxes that are in that point. Then you roll in with like LAs and C4, and that's it. Like,
Oh well, I mean it's an incredibly max heavy hold from
Yeah.
WTAC. A single OS,
that
and
exactly,
this hold will fall apart real fast.
exactly. Like you don't want to have something that's imbalanced, like having a whole bunch of maxes. You still need medics. You still need other forces of firepower. Heavies are
And if you
valuable.
consider the pop here for a second too. This is one squad of Fate, and that is everyone in WTAC on that point.
Yeah.
You can even tell just from the hex pop. It's 25%. It's one squad of Fate, 4 squads of WTAC. I mean, surely they should send someone to secure substation or try to save Argent Pass. But I mean, judging, I don't think they have a way to get there if they don't contest air superiority. And again, I don't think WTAC's pulled a single aircraft this entire game.
I want to give a quick shout out to my co-caster for tomorrow's match that will be casting, Trulius, whose butt you just saw on stream.
What a glorious butt it was.
And unfortunately, Deathneb has died. Yeah, so let's take a quick look at the map. They are definitely just giving away Argent Pass. They are not exactly interested at all for Nexus Secure Substation. If I change this heat map up a little bit, yeah, all of WTAC is consolidated at this point into Nexus Alpha with like maybe like 1 or 2 dudes over at Substation. So, I mean, this is not looking good for them.
You know, in my keys to victory, when I said that they should focus on keeping together and pick a spot to kind of delay Fate, I didn't mean your warp gate.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta try to exert some kind of map control elsewhere, and they are content just to sit in this room and have this room be their world for the rest of the match. And as soon as the rest of the Fate pop gets here, it's not gonna work for them.
That's assuming that's assuming if Fate wants to go for the warp gate. So there is still. I'm not gonna discount it just yet because we do have 27 minutes. So you can either win via warp gate or by most territory controlled. So if you're WTAC right now, you're buying yourself some time. You're trying to figure out, okay, we'll keep them housed here for now. We'll kill time, and if we have the bandwidth for it, we're gonna have to go ahead and spread our wings and move to the rest of the map, because they're not gonna be able to hold Nexus Alpha forever. So, I mean, that's just kind of how I'm looking at it right now. They need to get something going on soon, aside from just doing a point hold.
Yeah, they are actually. WTAC's doing a good job of isolating and taking out Fate's maxes. Bucksweet, Mook 286 just went down. 2 maxes totally unsupported on this southern flank.
Just saw C4 go off. All right, we got some Fate. We got some Fate making a push
on the west side.
They're making a coordinated push over here. We got people moving in from one door and other people moving in from another door. We have a Citadel shield up. Who is that? Of course, who's knifing people to death? Oh my
boy.
god.
Here we go, competitive planet side, everybody.
So, alright, so now it says Nexus Alpha A is contested. We're gonna see how this plays out. Point is now flipping. And
it's close.
yes, WTAC, you have maxes.
I thought it would be.
WTAC, you have maxes, but maxes cannot flip the point. Fate won that engagement.
Yep.
Now they have to.
Fate streaming in from all doors now.
So now Fate's gonna go ahead, and all they gotta do is just hold this point. And because of the fact that WTAC doesn't have access to any other bases, the only thing that they can do is defend Nexus Alpha. So now Fate is creating a chokehold through this one double doors room with a shield on the floor. We got some smoked cheese going on. Let's see how this plays out.
So I think everyone from Fate has abandoned their vehicles and is in on that point, which I'm not sure I agree with that play.
I think I just heard them get C4'd to death, and now they're just zombieing to hell. There is a lot of DACA going on right now, and I can't even hear myself.
That is a lot of DACA.
I am going to bring the audio down so that way I don't kill our viewers with DACA. Although DACA can sound very enticing sometimes.
This is just a firing line. This is a shooting gallery for Fate right now.
Yeah, so Fate have effectively created a kill zone. Anything that they see through that door is considered death. And WTAC, again, they can't really do much because Fate have a lot more ground that they can use to work with when it comes to covering this door. They'll have to kind of figure out some other way, that is WTAC, of creating a counter push somewhere because this is not working. And what Fate also have effectively done with this new placement of the Citadel Shield, they've divided the room into two. And what you see here is the Citadel Shield breaking the line between two doors and two other doors on the opposite side. So it's kind of, they've basically divided and have said, okay, WTAC, if you're going to fight us from this door over here, we're ready for you on the opposite side, and you're not going to be able to get us from behind. So right now, WTAC not really able to do much. They're just constantly dying. So
not a good time for WTAC. No.
Not a good time. Not a good time if you're in WTAC's team right now.
You know, I was going to comment on how I thought it was kind of a mistake for Fate to ditch all their vehicles. I feel like they could do with some aircraft and maybe a few ground vehicles just to kind of pick off WTAC spawns. Granted, WTAC has pulled a lot of Sky Guards in this area. I see at least 3, maybe 4.
But
to try to deny them.
So what good are the Sky Guards gonna do if you have to get the point with infantry, right?
Nothing. Nothing for them. Especially like they have a Vanguard here.
Yeah, that's not gonna do anything.
Why pull a Vanguard if you're just gonna sit in your walker and shoot at the single Valk flying at world height?
Yeah, WTAC has to change it up because they are literally being insane right now. Armor's not gonna help you here.
They do have a new bus coming up on the western side. So a new flank bus, hopefully they'll start using it because clearly, as much as Dr. Moneypants seems to like that doubles door, he's only ever seen one side of it. They're not making it through that doorway. Not while all of Fate is aiming their guns straight down that kill zone.
Like literally, I'm just kind of looking here on the camera. Like literally, every single person of Fate on this part of the building, for the most part, is just literally staring down a single door with both of their eyes. It's terrifying to look at from the inside. It's basically a kill squad. All right, I gotta ram my way through that Citadel Shield.
It is all of WTAC's infantry right now. They are in the warp. They are in their spawn room. They are grouping up in their main spawn room.
All right, so what are we gonna see here then? What are they gonna do that will?
One last big push.
All right, here we go. What are?
I hope no one.
Yeah, the spawn room. Here we go. Yeah. All right, yeah. What are they gonna do over here?
4 maxes at least.
So they're gonna attempt to do a max crash. And I think if I was them, there it is. Yeah. So there's the
orbital, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So there's the orbital. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to disrupt whatever they got going on over here. That is Fate. And after that orbital, they're gonna go ahead and push in. But Fate,
nope, there it is. The counter.
Fate countering. Yeah, exactly. There it is. There it is. That's all they got to do.
Wait, no, WTAC! At least get under cover!
That is... I got that on camera, and that was quite unfortunate.
Oh my god, I don't think any amount of resonates is going to recover you from that push.
We are experiencing technical difficulties as that orbital strike just...
Are we allowed to broadcast that?
I don't think we are. So I will go ahead and change camera scenes because we just witnessed mass genocide. So...
They're gonna try again. They've repulled maxes in their squad room.
Sorry.
And they're orbitaling again.
Let's put that back. All right, so they did another orbital, but what's that gonna does nothing.
Yep, and there it is. History repeat. They run back inside.
So this is okay. I don't know if I should show this. I'm not sure if I should show.
Well, In a saying that's perhaps more apt for WTAC than anyone else, those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it.
And I mean this as no offense to anybody, but expecting something else different by doing the exact same thing is the literal definition of insanity. And kids, what did we learn today? I think we're kind of going a little insane here. So,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, I think that is, yeah. There goes the smoke. And 40 seconds left. I'm honestly a little bit. Oh, I'm not a little bit. I am speechless. I don't know what else to say, really. So we have WTAC trying to push in from the double doors room. Fate is kind of crumbling, but
See,
they do.
I like this from WTAC. They tried something different. You had light assaults ambushing in to begin with, and they actually got on to point there.
Yeah, they got on to point. Yeah,
guys getting res on the point.
there you go. There you go.
This is far too little, far too late, WTAC.
Yeah, that's it.
You know,
That is it.
Before this match, I was really worried we'd see some big brain plays from WTAC that would come to bite them in the ass.
I think
But
that was.
They were
we
very
saw.
one note this match.
I think we yeah. Well, we did see big brain play.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the match for today. WTAC versus Fate. So congratulations over to Fate for a job well done capturing that warp gate. Kudos to WTAC for going all the way out to the very end of the match. That was one hell of a showing that we saw at the end. I thoroughly enjoyed
Certainly
that.
entertaining.
Definitely entertaining. I believe there's going to be some people from Fate who will want to go ahead and come in for interviews. I will go ahead and invite someone into this chat right now, and that would be East Chronox. And I'll just tell him to invite more people. Oh God. All right, cool. Yo, Nox, if you want to invite more people, get more people in here for interview.
All right, cool. Give me just a sec.
Yep.
Get Sun in here.
Yeah, so that was what did you think about that, Tand? What did you think about that?
That
Here's-
ending.
Here's Fate doing the victory lap around Sanctuary.
Yeah, I'm a bit speechless about that ending.
Yeah,
to be
no,
honest.
that was an amazing ending.
No, I heard from some Fate guys after their match last week that they were feeling even though they won, they were feeling a little shook. Sammy took them to the wire. It was a really close match and kind of a bit unnerving way to start the season. But I think after tonight, they're gonna be pumped. They're gonna be excited for whatever challenge comes next. And I think they're gonna have a really good season, riding off the momentum that they surely built tonight.
Yeah, I was able to see today that I know that last match, I think there was a little bit of miscommunication happening, which ended up leading to it being a lot closer than it needed to be. You know, their match against Sammy. But I think with how dominant they went in today and seemingly how coordinated they were with moving people around, it feels like they were able to iron a lot of those issues out. And yeah, Fate going down the line for the rest of the season, the current season, is going to be definitely a team to recognize as a very strong team. But again, I still can't get over it. I want to recognize WTAC for choosing the most insane and incredibly epic way of going out, and that is by sheer death of the sort of Damocles from downtown, the orbital strike. So, with that said, we got a couple people in the voice chat right now. We got Eskrinox, and also in addition to that too, we have Sun Wukong. So, hello, dudes. How are you doing?
It helps if I tab over again. I'm feeling pretty good.
You're telling me. I bet you're feeling good after what happened towards the end of the match.
Nox, my first question: who dropped those two orbitals? Who got the honors? Who got the honors of?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Shame.
Oh my god.
Top secret information. Sorry about that one.
Is it actually?
It was not me, and it was not my squad. I can tell you that much.
Well, I'm going to spill the beans here, Pecco.
Go for it.
Well, Pecco, the person who dropped those orbitals, Pecco, was none other than the protagonist of the critically acclaimed visual novel series Saber, Pecco, also known by her real name, Arturia Pendragon.
What?
Pecco.
He's not wrong. If you look, it was Arturia Pendragon who dropped the orbitals.
This is 100% factual and correct, Pecco.
Kudos.
I don't know what's up with the Pecco thing, but
I don't know either.
So, anyways, known Hololive 3rd Gen member Usada Pecora, what do you think about using the Novax on Eskrinox Death Island? Kind of an out there strat.
If you're at the stage of the game, Pecco, where you have to use Novaxes, Pecco, to win the game, Pecco, you're kind of dog shit. And I think that, Pecco, you should have deserved to lose the game like an hour ago, Pecco.
Hey, Falco, do you have any questions about the match?
I mean, okay, I guess I do have questions.
Okay.
So
save me from this.
So, I think it's safe to say, without needing any sort of insider information, that there may have been some issues with moving people around in your previous match. I think that was just kind of based on the notion that, sometimes against Sammy, we would see people in certain bases and not getting any sort of support whatsoever. But this match, it seemed like everyone was moving together. And so I just kind of want to know, how did cohesion feel for this match versus the last match that you guys had against Sammy?
It felt pretty good. For my squad, for Bravo, it felt pretty nice because we were up in the air and then we transitioned to the ground a lot more seamlessly than last time. The general assault was pretty good. We got to be the first guys at their warp gate base, and that was a lot of fun, just kind of shooting at them, hanging around there until the rest of the platoon showed up. So that was a lot of fun, and it's very fun to be a step ahead.
Yeah. Tan, do you want to ask anything? Any questions?
So, vehicle game. You guys, for an outfit that's known for vehicles, WTAC really didn't challenge you guys in the vehicle game, and you guys really took advantage of that where you needed to. Everyone kind of rotating out of vehicles at the end there just to be on point, was that a all call from the platoon, or was that kind of just a decision on their part? Because I was surprised we didn't see any air-to-ground mosquitoes just kind of picking off their spawns and stuff as WTAC tried to roll them off.
So the thing was, I don't know if you guys were able to see it, but I was flying a CAS Falc for the majority of it.
I did notice that.
It lived for like 15, 20 seconds tops near the end of those fights. Like I was able to put it in some weird spots and get some radar assists. But generally speaking, any air that went around there died because they just pulled too much ground to air. So it was just, it was a lot more sensible to pull all the pilots out of their planes and throw them on point. I think we had a couple up there still, just kind of taking pot shots. But generally speaking, we threw everybody at point.
There was a single Valk just sitting at flight ceiling above Alpha near the end, and whoever was flying that got bang for their buck because there was at least 4 Sky Guards and a Vanguard's Top Gun all shooting up at them.
That's Bravo, baby.
Instead of trying to get onto the points. So that's like a lot of nanites wasted for a Valk that's not really doing anything.
Yep, that was my hope, because every time I was flying it low to the ground, it would just get shot out. So goal was just to distract them. When you kind of get into these situations, right, because everybody can agree those Nexus warp gates, like once a group's in, it's really hard to unseat them. So the goal was just to not give them an opportunity to group up and push for it. So like we had the orbitals to disrupt that. A couple of squads were like rotating around trying to get some flanks. We had some cast hits on them. We had some air to ground. Like, you just cannot let them group up and try to make a push. That's the huge thing. And going in, we were able to sink their attention in one direction and send the rest of the platoon around them and just kind of circle them out and choke them.
Did see that flank. I thought it was a weird play because I saw two maxes, Fate maxes, unsupported, pushing one of the doorways and tying up a lot of Western attack pressure. And I thought maybe, like, you know, did these guys get lost? Do they not know where the rest of the platoon push was supposed to come from? And then we go into the point room. I don't remember. It was Mook and someone else. They were just alone. They died, and so I was like, you know, I thought that was kind of a waste. But then I went back inside, and all of WTAC had rotated to deal with those two lonely maxes. Meanwhile, you guys were breaching from two of the other doors that they had left open just to deal with those two maxes. So I don't know if that was planned, but it certainly worked out.
I can neither confirm nor deny whether or not that was planned, but I can say that there are a lot of people who like their max kills, and it's a big shiny distraction.
Is it possible that maybe Mr. Sun Wukong Pakora could tell us which page from the Fate Stay Night visual novel Fedric got that strategy?
Well, Pekko, there aren't actual pages, Pekko, because it's not a traditional novel. It is called a visual novel, Pekko. Emphasis on the visual part, Pekko. I honestly have no idea what you were asking. I'm zoned out for most.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Pekora.
I mean, I'm pretty bad at post-game interview questions, so like if there's anything else you want to ask Tan, go for it, because I got nothing.
What do you guys want? What do you guys want the most for next week? Your next match?
I want to kick your ass.
Okay. That's
Nah, either way it swings. Either way it swings. Whether FIFA wins or Fate wins, you're the next one I want to fight.
all right.
Damn.
Cool. Let's do.
Look, man.
Send me
let's
out.
be
Send
honest.
me out. I will meet regularly at Crumbles Gaming 03 one-on-one at Granite Head Reactor to knife fight.
All right, bet. I'll let RC know. He'll be there.
Right, we'll do it on A point. On A point. Ever team will gather on either side of the point, and we'll watch. We'll Coliseum. We'll Thunderdome this shit. Yeah, we'll Thunderdome this shit.
Nah, I mean, in all reality, like, I just want the matches to be interesting and engaging, right? Like, a lot of these matches that you're seeing on any server that are just kind of a sweep, and it's like, oh, 20 minutes and it's done. I mean, it's going to happen during qualifiers, but it's not what any of us want, right? Like, the Sammy versus Fate match was a really fun match. It was really back and forth. We learned what we needed to work on. They learned what they needed to work on. In a match like this, it's really hard for, say, like WTAC to identify something they need to work on, and it's hard for us to identify something we need to work on, right? Because it was pretty one-sided most of the way through. So it doesn't really leave you a lot of room to improve.
Definitely, and I think that Fate Sammy match is kind of a showcase for the entire event. If I had to convince someone to get into the game through Outfit Wars, I'd have them watch that match. And it's very clear that you guys have, you know, even though this match was pretty easy for you guys, it's very clear you guys learned a lot from that match and applied it here, even if the opposition maybe wasn't exactly up to the challenge. So I'm very excited to see Fate keep getting better, because you guys are one of the teams that if you get rolling, I think you have a really good shot of going all the way.
But will they rally to the sun?
That was last season, Fed.
And
now we're deciding the fate of Connery.
We had to move on.
And will Bubbles once again hack the mainframe? We will find out next time. All right. If that's it for whatever we want to do for the post game, I thank both of you, Eskernox and Wukong, for coming in and just kind of letting us poke your brains for a little bit. I'll let you guys get going for whatever post game you guys want to do, whether it be shooting the shit or, you know, whatever it may be. I know late night Brack things are kind of interesting, so like, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go wrangle them before they do something to get themselves in trouble.
Anyways, thanks
for having
guys.
us, guys.
Thanks, guys. Congrats on the victory. Good luck next week.
And good luck to you tomorrow, right? You guys are tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow.
Good luck tomorrow. We'll be watching.
Thank you. We'll try to make it a show.
All right, sweet. All right. So, Tand, yeah, that was a cool match. I think we really got to see Fate's development in their character arc. Yeah, what are you looking forward to? Because he did ask Nos, like, what are they looking forward to? What are you looking forward to for this current iteration of Outfit Wars?
I'm looking forward to some really close matches, and I'm hoping some big upsets. There's a lot of expectations regarding which teams are going to make it where on Connery in particular, and I'm hoping to see some big upsets. I'm hoping to see some really close matches like that Sammy Fate game. I think Connery has a really good roster of teams in comparison to a lot of the other servers, just in terms of good teams to total teams, like a ratio. So I think we're going to see really competitive teams, really competitive matches all through the playoffs, and I'm really excited for those to begin in 2-3 weeks' time. So, and as we go through the qualifiers, we're going to start getting more and more of those matches as teams that keep winning fight each other. So I think next week is when things are going to start getting really interesting in terms of matchups. So I'm really looking forward to next week and whatever matchups the algorithm, as it were, gives us.
Speaking of the Connery roster for Alpha Wars, I'm going to go over that real quick and see what we got going on here. So, for people who are interested for more Alpha Wars action, of course, Planetside Battles will be covering a decent amount, if not all, of the matches that will be happening on Connery. If not us, you can probably find Serious Gaming or Deeg or anyone else like Cami who will be covering some additional matches that we cannot cover just because we may not have the bandwidth for it. So we're gonna have FIFA versus Terran Alliance tomorrow at 8 p.m. Pacific time. Also, in addition to that as well, we will have Recursion versus GHG Go Hard Gaming. That'll be at 8:30. Previously today, Vikings of Connery won against Unity, so congratulations to Vikings of Connery. And obviously, on this stream, we witnessed Fate of Connery take it to Western Tactical and win. And they are now 2-0. Tomorrow, I will be casting Sammy versus TWC2. That will be at 8 p.m. Pacific time. At 8:30, there will be Drunk Division versus Mother Killer. That will be at 8:30. Dyer versus Legion of Coffee led to Dyer winning that match. And lastly, we have a match in progress with Hell's Angels and Rexus Iron Guard. So good luck to both of those teams. I don't know how they're going, but I hope they're having a good time.
Covered anywhere? Do we know
I have no. I don't know if I don't know if that match is being covered. If it is, you can probably find a channel on Twitch covering it right now. With I think all of that out of the way, Tand, is there any last bits of things you want to go ahead and say for our crowd before we sign off?
Keep an eye open for the next Fate CV. I heard it's spicy.
All right. So, with that said, again, I'm Falco. I was joined by Tand, and we thank you for watching tonight's stream. And we will go ahead and catch you guys on whichever next match that we're going to go ahead and cover. And until then, we will go ahead and see you soon. So, goodbye all, and I hope you have a fantastic night. We will see you tomorrow.